fashion industry, and his fame knows no boundaries. He's the global star that we have right with us. We also have Sir Satyarama, and they spoke earlier today about their conservation and the book, and we saw the panel discussing, the brands, inspirations, and day-to-day journey of the brand. So I'll open the floor for questions and not waste much time. So yes, would you like to just give a one-liner brief on the book, because most of them were watching it online, but would be just great.
So the book is essentially a journey of transformation of businesses that are looking at every single opportunity to transform to the next level. So that is why it is called Business. And the transformation could be offline to digital, it could be newer markets, it could be newer brands, it could be newer segments, it could be disrupting an existing product to create a new product. But these brands that feature are actually role models from an India perspective of a true growth led by change and innovation.
My journey started very differently. 1990, I started working in the film industry for costumes, and I was very clean cake look eye, styling eye, and I struggled with that, and then it happened with various films like Rangila, Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge, Raja Hindustani, Dil To Pagal, and all of it. उस वक्त मैंने ये नहीं सोचा था कि I'm going to have a label and a business, because I thought कि हमेशा I'm going to just design for films. 2005 I launched my label, and उस वक्त ये था कि I have my label as well as I continue to work on costumes. I met Safir about 11 years ago at my store in Mumbai, and then we kept meeting because I started going to Delhi. I launched my work in Delhi as well, and then the conversations of making it very specific as a brand. We would discuss lots of things. I would come back thinking. So Safir stirred my mind for a lot of time on how things are going to change and how things are going to be going to get more and more specific. IP is going to become very important. And it was Safir जिन्होंने मुझे as somebody who's not really studied fashion or business बहुत इस बारे में knowledge दी, and then it is we kind of got more and more focused with the brand. We were always focused on the creativity of the brand, but to make it specific, to keep it under the norms and to even protect our IP, all of that started coming in, and yes, and that's what it is. And so we are here to launching this book, and I'm sure there will be many more books, because Safir has a huge bandwidth of knowledge. जितनी knowledge उनके पास है सब चीज़ों की, इन brands की और IP की और law की, वो बहुत कम लोगों के पास है. मेरी ज़िंदगी में Safir है जिनके पास इतनी knowledge है, and for a lot of things I keep going back to him.
Thank you so much for the brief. Let me open the floor to questions.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. I have a question for you. Okay, both of you. Manish first. Sir, you are an artist, from what I understand. You're a designer. You've got probably a right brain belt of mind. And business, essentially, from what we hear, requires a left brain bent of mind. It's figures, logistics, numbers. And most artists we see struggling with it. Business is an art. They say don't mix. So how did you get into numbers, and how did you get into from the fashion to the numbers and to the creativity to this logistics, plain, simple, without...
What's your name, ma'am?
Shelja.
Shelja.
Yeah.
Shelja, I have to tell you, you're absolutely right. So the marriage between the knowledge of business and creativity is a tough one and a rare one. I had started my work in 1990, and I remember meeting somebody in 1999 who was talking to me, and I remember she took a paper and she drew a big zero. And I said, what is that? So she said, I think that's what you are in accounts. And I was like, oh my God, okay. So that knowledge came to me very, very late. I think it was late. But then there's always something that you say better late than never. And जब मैंने अपना brand भी launch किया in 2005, तब भी I was not good at accounts. I had my brother coming to look into the accounts and all of it. But giving it a direction, I only learned the hard way with lots and lots of mistakes. And I also think that I learned it a bit late in my life. And I don't think I know it completely even now. And that's when a lot more people like Safir come into your life and they help you and they handhold you. And that also gets you to one big phenomenal truth is that if you want to grow, it is a team effort. Inclusivity of ideas, knowledge, and so much more has to come together because you individually can't know it all. And accounts was something that I didn't know at all, or business.
So was it boring for you, accounts initially, numbers?
It was, and more than boring, it made me uncomfortable because it constantly showed me that, oh my God, I know nothing of it. And many times when you're facing something where you feel you don't know anything of it, it's uncomfortable. And like I said, there were just so many mistakes that I had to learn, and you learn the hard way.
Safir, I have a question, with first creativity. I mean, how did you connect with the creative side of it?
See, in my experience of now more than 25 years in this field and having worked for some of the top brands in the world, one thing I want to give Manish an absolute credit for, which he has not spoken because he's very humble with whatever he says, is that every day he wanted to be a learner. And the first catalyst for the brand to change is the brand's acceptance that I want to accept certain things and change. And the second is the receptiveness of it. You want to be a learner, but you do not like something and you let it pass. Now, when you want to be receptive towards it, there will be different ways in which you can change. For example, it's not necessary that Manish had to learn accounts and therefore number crunching. He could have concentrated on making the brand better and making the client interaction better and making the experience better, and that would have anyways resulted in numbers. So you looked at your own, like you said, the left brain and the right brain, the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, etc. You looked at what was relevant for him, and he knew his strengths. And I have found something very, very interesting in him. He's a very intuitive thinker. And intuitive thinkers are people who deliberate a lot, and therefore they know a lot of things that will work for them and what will not work for them. And to his credit, he is where he is.
Great, thank you.
Good afternoon. So I have a question for the both of you. So how do you deal with counterfeiting in the fashion industry when you know that what you're making is absolutely original, you put your heart and soul into it, but when you see it being copied everywhere, how do you deal with that?
So one part of it is that if it's not copied, that means it's not so good or hasn't, connected to lots of people. The other part is, which is happening on social media especially, is when people are actually using your product, even your videos, your films that you're shooting with celebrities or with models and all of it, and putting their name on it. And that's what we get to, in my case, my friend and my IP lawyer, Safir, and we take legal action. And I have to say this to you here, that it was Safir, like I mentioned earlier, who actually did open my eyes to all of this years ago. And initially I thought, it's okay, it happens. And he was like, no, this is going to get serious. And when it got serious, and I was like, oh my God, you were right. We don't need to take action on this. So there's a very thin line. And but there comes a time when we have to take action. The other flip side of it is that it just pushes you to get more specific in your design, more detailed in your design. That time of all of us being in a happy world and doing it, we're in a happy world even today, because that's how you see it, and if you see it like that, the only difference is that you need to get more and more specific in what you are saying, vis-a-vis your art or your creativity. I think that also will somewhat help in defining an original.
Thank you so much.
Hello, Manish here. Shrinivas from Pune.
आप रिकॉर्ड भी कर रहे हो?
या रिकॉर्ड भी कर। तो ये बात है कि मेरे दो छोटे सवाल हैं। What brands Manish Malhotra used to use before becoming Manish Malhotra, and how you look at the fashion designing session, this segment, pre-COVID and post-COVID.
मैं आपको सेकंड सवाल का पहले जवाब दूंगा।
Okay.
So when COVID started, ये था कि there was a very हम सब में शायद there was a thing कि क्या होगा, एक uncertainty जो होती है वो हमेशा एक stress लाती है कि क्या होगा। In our case हमारे assistants, हमारे craftsmen, उनको चीज़ें पहुँचाना उनके to protect them as well, to take care of them. So initially it stressed था when we all settled down in it and all of that. And when things started, I was the first designer to open my store in Delhi when things started opening up in Delhi. When it was allowed to open a certain number of people. We saw to that their salaries are paid, we saw that they are taken care of. The other side of जो time हम लोगों को मिला हम सबको कोविड के during लॉकडाउन के वो ये मिला कि हम लोग सब ने I think it is in my case मैंने I saw things that I probably had not seen earlier. क्योंकि हम पहले इतने busy थे भागते हुए. You saw you kind of went within and चाहे design हो चाहे आपका thought process हो चाहे आपके relationships हो with people who you work with or with your friends. We looked at it and I think that when we came out of that phase, I think my work changed for the better. And also my communication, not just with the world but within my business and people got better. And we start valuing more. And आपके पहले सवाल का ये जवाब है कि मैं पहले भी जो ब्रांड्स पहनता था वो अभी भी पहनता हूँ just because मैं फैशन डिज़ाइनर या डिज़ाइनर ये मतलब है कि मैं किसी और का ब्रांड नहीं पहन सकता एंड मेरे में इतना कॉन्फिडेंस है कि मैं दूसरों के ब्रांड भी पहन सकता हूँ.
थैंक यू. मैं इसमें ना एक बात आपको ऐड करना चाहता हूँ क्योंकि वो थोड़ा डेटा ड्रिवन बात है और वो जो लॉकडाउन आने के बाद एक्चुअली ऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर की ग्रोथ काफ़ी ज़्यादा स्टेबल हुई है कंपेयर टू अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर. बिकॉज आप अगर किसी की ज़िंदगी से 2 साल निकाल दो और उसको बोलो कि आपको खर्चा करना है वो सबसे पहले बोलेगा मुझे क्वालिटी पे खर्चा करना है बिकॉज उसने पहले 2 साल कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ कर दी. तो जो ऑर्गेनाइज ब्रांड्स हैं उन्होंने उस समय बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटी ढूंढी है. किसी ने ढूंढी है डिजिटल होने के लिए, किसी ने ढूंढी है प्रोडक्ट के लिए, किसी ने सस्टेनेबिलिटी की को करा एक्सेट्रा. तो वो शिफ्ट रियल हुआ है. जो कहते हैं जो एक मुहावरा होता है ना जब आपको लोहा को मतलब यू हैव टू स्ट्राइक ऑन द आयरन हॉट, तो वो अपॉर्चुनिटी ऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर को समझ में आई थी कि ये बहुत अच्छा ट्रांजिशन फेज है और ये ह्यूमन नेचर है कि एडवर्सिटी के अंदर ही अपॉर्चुनिटी होगी. तो जब भी आपको एडवर्सिटी दिखेगी जो लीडर्स हैं जो इस किताब में फीचर्ड हैं मनीष जैसे उन्होंने उसको एम्ब्रेस किया है और वो क्या करेंगे वो तो मुझे भी नहीं पता क्योंकि वो सारा टाइम सोचते रहते हैं बट वो जरूर कुछ अच्छा करेंगे.
That means the break was required. Yes, thank you.
Not in this way.
Yes.
A break is always required.
Hi, Manish, Chandra this side from Delhi. I have a very quick question. We have seen how fashion has always been a competitive field. What would be your take on how do you encourage young startup entrepreneurs who are really working hard to take up the fashion industry and create their own brand? What would be your message for them?
Well, I think no industry can strive further if there is no influx of the youth. Fresh mind and young minds are always required in any industry. And for that industry to nourish and move further, and even for the seniors in those fields, and that could be any field, are also pushed further to recreate, to reinvent. I think today is a great time for startups. It's a great time for young mind because all of us have got so much more accepting of ourselves and we don't fear anymore being ourselves. And so we are open to so much more than we were earlier. So I think it's a great time for everybody who has an idea out there which is different and which this is the best time to come up with your idea.
Your last question is your motto behind your book, basically, what message it sends out to the young people and overall to the people in the fashion industry, of course. Yeah. Please.
Well, the message that I'm trying to see, when they say that the only constant is change, the question is why are we reluctant to change? Change is the greatest opportunity. And the change is what is going to make us better, when it makes us stronger. Even if it's a mistake, it's a price of learning and you'll be able to do a lot with it. So if you look at it, the entire shift is towards brands that are embracing change. Now whether they are talking about youth or they're talking about other forms of change is very different. But that's what it is. So we should come out more open and accept change and be the catalyst for it because that's how truly disruption happens.